Hi, and welcome to part 4 of Cinchy's Data Collaborator series of videos. For this part, I'll be playing the role of Parker, the head of sales. The fourth part of the series will cover the basics of query navigation and execution, and how to pivot a query to create tables, charts, and data visualizations. Let's get started. The Cinchy builders have made me a query which shows me the number of companies, locations, and sales reps per province. I want to take a look at this query and see if our sales reps are being allocated effectively. I'll start by searching the name of the query and clicking on it to execute it. Now I can see the executed query. I can also see the SQL expression behind the query output by clicking on Design Query. I can do this because the builder has granted the sales team with access to design the query. I've also been granted with design controls. As you can see, members of the builder, HR, and sales teams can all execute and design the query. Those who haven't been granted access won't be able to access this query in their marketplace. That being said, anyone in the Cinchy environment can run a saved query via the API. The query, by default, will present the results in a table format. Now, to visualize the data differently, I can convert the table to a pivot table. I'll do this by clicking the drop-down next to Grid and clicking Pivot. Now the table has become a pivot table. I can drag and drop column names on the vertical or horizontal axis to customize what data I see and where I see the data. I can also visualize the table data differently by clicking on the drop-down where it currently says Table and selecting another visualization. I'm going to leave my display format as Table for now. Here, Count will also be selected by default. I'd like to keep Count selected in this case as well. Now I'm going to drag and drop my columns in the order I'd like in the vertical field here. Actually, I care most about the number of locations per sales rep, so I'm going to add this to the top of my list here to see it on the farthest left side of the table. It looks like the number of locations per sales rep ranges between 2 and 7 on average, but for some reason the number of locations per sales rep is over 50 for those in Ontario. We may need to look into hiring in Ontario to meet with the demand. Let me see if I can visualize this data in another way. I'm going to focus on locations per sales rep in each province. I'm going to leave only the province or state column in the left-hand axis and visualize the sum of locations per rep. Now I'd like to visualize my data in another way, possibly a bar chart. Let's see. Great, I can see the number of locations per sales rep in each province. Let's see this as a heat map as well. This is perfect. It highlights the areas of concern where Ontario has too many locations per rep. As the head of sales, this query is really helping me make headcount decisions, but I can share this information with human resources as well. If I click on Pivot URL, I can first see that I can click on Open a New tab to open the heat map in a new tab. But I can also share or save any data visualizations that I generate by clicking the Copy button next to the URL. I'm going to copy the URL. Now I can not only send this to HR, but also store it and use it to access this heat map whenever I need it. If I paste this into a new tab, I'll see my heat map. Let's ensure that we're seeing what we expect. Perfect, here's my heat map. Now I can send the URL to HR. The Cinchy builders actually saved a data visualization for me to check out when needed. They've created a bar chart of our sales reps per province. They thought this would be helpful for me. They saved this data visualization as an experience that I can access at any time. So let's go back to the marketplace and take a look. I'm going to click on Marketplace to see the remaining objects I have access to. Here's the experience. Let's open it. Perfect, here's my count of sales reps per province. I like the bar chart visualization, but I can also change the way the data is visualized. I could change this to a horizontal bar chart, for example. Since the experience has been saved as a bar chart, my change won't be permanent. One thing I'd like to point out is because the Cinchy builders given sales and builders access to execute and design this query, along with design controls, I'm able to execute the query without the pivot, I can make edits to the query which powers the experience, and I can control access. I'm going to exit the experience and bookmark it for future use. Now that I'm here, I'm also going to bookmark the location per sales rep query. Perfect.